The Trideth sky above the alien planet was dark, filled with thick black clouds that never moved. Lightning flashed silently in the distance. Deep below, in the middle of a dirty marketplace, a metal cage was dragged through the mud inside. The cage sat a young human boy. His name was Leo. Leo was 19. His clothes were torn. His face was tired and his eyes were full of fear. He didn't know where he was or why he had been taken. All he remembered was being on a cargo ship, locked in a cold room with others. Then, one day, he woke up here alone. The cage stopped. Tall aliens with green skin and long arms stood around him. One of them pulled out a bag of old, rotting fruit, soft, brown, and smelling terrible. "That's the trade," one alien said. "The human for the fruit. Deal," another replied, laughing. Leo watched, shocked. He had just been traded for garbage. He was not even worth real money. The new owner of the cage was a short alien with metal arms and glowing red eyes. He didn't speak to Leo. He just dragged the cage across the dusty ground to a broken gate. Behind the gate was a forgotten city. Half the buildings were ruined. Fires burned in old trash cans. Strange creatures watched from the shadows. The gate opened with a loud creak. The alien pushed the cage inside and locked the gate behind him. He turned and walked away without a word. Leo was alone now. No food, no water, no idea what would happen next. After some time, the gate opened again. A group of rough-looking creatures walked in. They had sharp teeth and wore armor made of bones. One of them pointed at Leo and laughed. "Look at him, a human. Haven't seen one in years." "They say humans are soft," said another. "Weak. Useless." Leo stayed silent. He wanted to scream. He wanted to fight. But he was just a boy in a cage, on a planet he didn't know, surrounded by creatures who hated him. The creatures lost interest and walked away, still laughing. Night came. Leo sat in the cold, staring at the stars. He thought about Earth, about his little sister, about the last time he saw the sun. He wanted to cry, but no tears came. He was too tired. Suddenly, the sky lit up. A bright light flashed above the ruined city. It looked like a small star falling from the sky. It left a trail of fire and smoke behind it. The ground shook slightly as it crashed in the hills far away. Leo's heart jumped. Something just fell from the sky. Maybe it was a ship, maybe it was help, maybe it was nothing. But it was something new, something not part of this nightmare. He looked around. No one else seemed to care. No alarms, no guards, just silence. Leo stood up in the cage and grabbed the bars. "I have to get out," he whispered. He checked the cage. The lock was old, rusty. The bars were bent in one corner. Slowly, with all his strength, he pushed. The metal groaned. His hands bled. But after minutes of hard work, one bar snapped loose. He slipped through the gap and fell to the ground outside. He was free but not safe. Keeping low, he ran through the ruins. Old machines stood like skeletons. Broken signs in alien languages hung from buildings. Strange eyes watched him from windows, but no one stopped him. He reached the outer wall of the city and found a hole in the fence. He slipped through and entered the wild land beyond. The night was cold. The sky was still glowing from the crash. He walked for hours toward the smoke, using the light as his guide. Strange sounds echoed in the hills, growls, clicks, hissing, but he kept going. Leo didn't know what he would find, but he knew this: he would rather face the unknown than live as someone's trash. As he climbed the last hill, he saw at the crater a large circle of scorched earth. Steam rose from the center. Pieces of metal were scattered everywhere. Something had definitely crashed here. Leo moved closer, heart pounding. Inside the crater, half buried in the dirt, was a small, damaged pod. Silver and blue, covered in burn marks, and on the side of the pod, just barely visible in the moonlight, was a symbol. Leo froze. He knew that symbol. He had seen it once, long ago, on a book his father kept hidden. It was human. A pod from Earth. He stepped closer. The hatch of the pod opened slowly. With a hiss, steam poured out. And inside, a soft voice spoke. "Human life form detected. Initializing emergency protocol." Leo's eyes widened. He was not alone. The crash sitteth. Wind was cold and dry, whispering across the cracked ground like the ghost of something long dead. Black dust floated in the air above. The stars blinked behind gray clouds, as if they were afraid to look down. Leo stood at the edge of the crater. Steam hissed around his feet. The dirt here was scorched, blackened by the heat of whatever had fallen from the sky, and there, half buried in the ground, was the pod. Metal, damaged, covered in strange burn marks, and yet undeniably human. He stepped forward slowly, heart pounding like a drum in his chest. This pod, it didn't belong here. It was from Earth. Or at least, from someone who still remembered Earth. His fingers trembled as he reached out and touched the cold metal. It buzzed slightly beneath his skin, like a machine still breathing. Then a sound. Clicked. A small panel slid open on the side. Steam poured out and a dim red light blinked inside. Leo jumped back. ready to run, but then a voice spoke. Soft, metallic, broken, human, life form, detected. Leo froze. DNA confirmed, status, injured, mental state, unstable, beginning. Emergency protocol. The pod opened with a loud hiss. Inside was not a person but a machine. A small AI drone, round and cracked, with a single glowing eye in the center. It hovered out of the pod, slowly, like a wounded bird. Who are you? Leo whispered. The drone's voice was glitchy, but calm. You are Leo Connor, Earthborn, registry ID 7 Kilo Alpha 0932, file match confirmed. Leo took a step back. How do you know my name? The drone turned to him. Its red eye dimmed for a moment, then glowed brighter. You were reported lost, presumed dead. Your father's last transmission included your profile. This mission was for you. Leo's mouth went dry. My father? The drone floated closer. He believed you were alive. He sent this pod to find you. Data chip inside contains classified intel. Priority, deliver to human command. Leo stared. His father had sent this? After all this time. But why? What's so important about me? The drone's voice grew serious. Because you are the last witness. The council lied. They said humans were extinct. But your survival proves otherwise. If the galaxy learns the truth, everything changes. Leo didn't fully understand, but he didn't need to. All he knew was that he was not forgotten. Someone had tried to find him. Someone still believed in him. The drone floated back into the pod and returned with a small silver chip and a compact black pack. Take these, it said. Contents, survival gear, data drive. Flare beacon, do not activate beacon unless in secure zone. Leo took the chip and placed it in a small pocket inside the jacket he found earlier. He slung the pack over his shoulder before he could ask more. The drone made a strange sound like a low beep mixed with a sigh. Warning, it said. Multiple heat signatures approaching. Hostile species. I am no longer operational. Defend yourself. Leo turned. He saw glowing eyes in the shadows. Fast, low to the ground. They were coming. Run, the drone whispered. Do not let them capture the drive. The red light in the drone's eye faded. The machine dropped to the ground dead. Leo didn't waste a second. He ran behind him. The creatures gave chase. Four-legged, quick. Snarling, their teeth glowed blue in the dark. Their claws sparked. As they dug into the dirt, he ran through rocky ground, past alien trees that looked like bone, over hills that smelled like acid. His legs screamed, but he didn't stop. Up ahead, a gap in the cliffs, a narrow path, maybe a way out. He slid down the slope, rolled through the dust, and dove behind a sharp rock. The creatures stopped at the top of the hill. They sniffed the air. They growled. Then, slowly, they turned away. Leo waited, heart thudding in his ears. When it was safe, he looked up at the stars again. He didn't know who had sent the pod. He didn't know why he mattered, but he knew this. Someone lied to the galaxy. They told the stars that humans were weak, that humans were gone. But he was still here. He was the proof, and someone didn't want that truth to get out. As he opened the pack, he found a strange metal tag. It had a logo on it. A triangle with 3 burning lines. Below it, in faded letters, Project Fireburn. He didn't know what it meant yet, but something deep inside him whispered, this is only the beginning. The beast and the boy wind had changed. It was no longer cold, it was watching. Leo moved slowly through the canyon, his back pressed to the stone, his hands shaking. Every rock, every shadow felt like it was breathing. The light from the stars above was fading, swallowed by clouds. He was being hunted. Behind him, deep growls echoed through the narrow path. Something was following him, not just watching, not just tracking, it was toying with him. He had seen its eyes an hour ago, yellow, wide, and intelligent, not just an animal, not just a monster, something smarter. Leo single quotes as heartbeat was louder. Then his footsteps. He gripped the small survival knife the drone had given him. It felt like a toy in his hand, worthless against whatever walked behind him. But he wouldn't run again, not this time. He reached a narrow cave between 2 large stones and slipped inside. It was dark, tight. He crouched low and held his breath. Outside, footsteps, slow, heavy. Crack. A twig snapped. Leo closed his eyes. Then nothing. Silence. He opened his eyes again. Sweat dripping down his face. Maybe it left. Maybe he had fooled it. A low hiss came from above. He looked up. It was on the ceiling. A tall, thin creature with bone-like limbs and a skull-shaped face. Long claws clung to the rock. It looked straight at him. Leo screamed and rolled out of the cave just as the beast lunged. Its claws slammed into the dirt where his chest had been a second earlier. He ran. The creature followed, through narrow paths, over jagged rocks, past dead trees. Leo's lungs burned. His legs wanted to give out, but the beast never slowed. He reached a clearing filled with alien vines and broken machines. The moonlight hit the center of the clearing, and in that moment he saw it. A trap. An old alien snare, rusted, broken, but still active. half buried beneath leaves. Leo stopped. He looked back. The creature burst from the trees, screeching. Leo did the only thing he could. He picked up a piece of metal and threw it. Clang. The noise echoed. The creature turned toward the sound. Pound stand. Stepped into the snare. Snap. Metal arms wrapped around its legs, pulling it into the air. It screamed and twisted. Trapped. Leo fell to the ground, breathing hard. He was safe, for now. He walked slowly to the creature, knife still in hand. It stared at him with yellow eyes, still hissing. He stared back. You wanted to eat me, Leo said softly. But now look at you. The creature stopped hissing. It looked confused. Leo leaned in. You're not the only predator anymore. He turned and walked away, leaving the beast hanging. He didn't smile. He didn't feel strong, but something had changed. He had survived, and not by luck, by thinking. He found a small hill and sat under a strange blue tree. He took out the data chip from the pack and turned on the small hologram projector. A blurry image appeared. An older man in a military uniform. His eyes were sharp, his voice tired but proud. If you're seeing this, the man said, then you survived. Good. Leo leaned closer. I'm General Connor, leader of Fireburn Protocol. And if you're my son, Leo, I'm sorry. Leo froze. The galaxy believes humanity was wiped out. That we surrendered. We didn't. We went underground. We became shadows. Because the real enemy wasn't alien armies, it was fear. Fear of what humans could become. The image glitched. You, Leo, are part of Project Fireburn, born to survive. Trained from childhood without even knowing it. Everything we taught you, now you must remember. Leo felt his breath catch. He remembered the strange puzzles his father gave him as a child. The secret training exercises, the questions with no answers. The stories of war he wasn't allowed to tell anyone. They will come for you, the hologram said, not just to kill but to erase, to hide what you are. A map appeared, an old structure deep inside the planet. Go here, find the archive. The truth is inside, and if you find it, you can light the fire again. The message ended. Leo sat in silence. He was no longer just a lost boy, he was something else. The last spark of something greater. Suddenly, a sound. Someone was behind him. He turned fast. Knife ready. A girl stood there, alien, but close to human. Blue skin, long white hair, strange armor. She didn't raise a weapon. Just looked at him with careful eyes. You're human, she said. Leo nodded slowly. And you? He asked. My name is Cora, she said. I saw the fire in the sky. I followed it. Leo watched her. Why? She looked past him, toward the stars. Because if that pod came for you, then maybe the stories are true. What stories? She looked him in the eyes. That humans were never the weakest. Asterisk. The hidden truth. Fire had gone from the sky, but something new had started burning inside Leo. He stood beside Cora at the edge of a dry riverbed. Strange blue plants grew here, glowing softly in the dark. The air was thick, heavy with silence. Even the wind didn't dare move. Cora checked the old tracker in her hand. A weak blinking light pointed toward a direction west, deeper into the Deadlands. The place where even the scavengers didn't go. You sure this archive is real? Leo asked, voice low. I'm not sure about anything anymore, she said. But the symbol on your pod, it matches something I saw in the ruins. What ruins? A place forgotten by the galaxy, she said, a place they tried to bury. Leo looked up at the sky. The stars were still watching, some blinking, some dead, some were up there. His people were still hiding somewhere. Someone knew why he had been abandoned, but for now, he had to survive down here. They traveled through rough terrain, cliffs like broken teeth, trees shaped like bones, and lakes filled with black liquid that hissed when touched. Leo asked questions. Cora answered little. She had been a slave once, sold to the same kind of traders who had dumped Leo here. But she had escaped, learned to fight, to survive. She never said where she came from. Only that she believed humans weren't extinct. Not really, they fear what they lie about. She told him, and they lie about humans the most. After today's, they reached it. A cracked mountain with a single door carved into its base, metal. Ancient, covered in dust and strange markings, half human, half alien. Leo stepped forward and placed his hand on the panel. The door opened. A quiet, cold hiss escaped as the air inside met the outside world. They entered. Inside was darkness, followed by dim lights flickering on one by one. The hallway was long, the walls covered in writing, some English, some in a language Leo had never seen. But the symbol from the pod was everywhere, 3 burning lines inside a triangle. Project Fireburn. They found rooms filled with dust-covered screens, broken chairs, and skeletons, some human, some alien. Battle had happened here long ago. This wasn't just a base, Cora said. It was a secret lab. Maybe a prison. Leo walked to a console and wiped away the dust. It blinked to life. Power still flowed. A voice came from the speaker. Fireburn. Facility 17. Access granted. Welcome, Leo Connor. His blood froze. This place knew him. A hologram flickered on the wall. It showed data files, maps, names, experiments, military records, hidden transmissions. Leo tapped on one file. It opened, classified report, the Fireburn Protocol. The voice read the file aloud. The Fireburn Project was created after the Great Retreat. The Council claimed peace, but we knew better. Humans were not wiped out. They were feared into silence. Cora stepped closer, her eyes widened. The Council feared human evolution, not physical but mental, strategy, innovation, willpower. Humans broke blockades with junk ships, destroyed fleets with math. They won wars they should have lost. Leo sat down, so they made a deal, surrender or be erased. Humanity chose silence. And secretly, they built the Fireburn, children raised to survive, hidden on planets. Forgotten until the time to return. The file ended. The screen went dark. Leo stared ahead. Breathing hard, he wasn't abandoned, he was planted. The galaxy thought humans were gone because humans let them think that. And now, he was awake. Suddenly, alarms blared. Warning, unauthorized life forms detected. Red lights flashed. A voice came through the intercom, cruel, metallic. We've found the nest, it said. Erase everything. Outside, ships landed, black armored soldiers disembarked, not aliens. But something worse. Council enforcers. Cora looked at Leo. They're here for you, not the base. Leo nodded. Double quotes. Then we give them something to remember. They grabbed what gear they could: an old energy rifle, grenades, files stored on a portable drive. Before they left, Leo saw a sealed room marked Fireburn memory logs. He opened it. Inside was a chair and a visor. A small screen blinked. Insert identity chip. Leo paused. Then, slowly, he slid in the data chip from the crash pod. The visor activated. It projected one last message from his father. Leo, if you made it here, then you've seen the truth. Now you must decide, stay hidden or light the fire. Outside, explosions rocked the ground. Leo stood up, grabbed the rifle, looked at Cora. I'm done hiding, he said. Let's burn the lies down. They rushed out of the base. Fire at their backs, truth in their hands, and behind them, deep underground. The base's systems whispered their final words. Fireburn activated. Firestar Earth world was burning behind them. Leo and Cora ran through the ash-soaked valley as the Fireburn base exploded in flames. The night lit up with orange fire and black smoke from above. Council ships circled like vultures, scanning for life. Drones flew low, searching, hunting. But Leo didn't hide anymore. He had the truth on a small data drive hanging around his neck. The secrets of Fireburn were saved, Council lies, hidden wars, and the real reason humans were feared. And now they would know he was still alive. They reached a ravine and climbed into an old shelter built into the rock. Once inside, Cora collapsed to the floor, breathing heavy. Leo didn't rest. He opened the drive and activated the flare beacon. A beam of red light shot into the sky, brief, invisible to the eye, but screaming across space in a signal meant for one thing. Fireburn has awakened. Cora looked up. You just called for help. Leo shook his head. I just told the galaxy a human is alive. She stared at him. You're trying to get us killed. Leo smiled coldly. No, I'm trying to start something they can't kill. They didn't have to wait long. Within hours, small groups of outcasts and prisoners from across the region began appearing. First came two gray-skinned scavengers, armed with rusted blades. Then a four-armed miner with burns across his chest. Then others, dirty, broken, angry. Each had heard of the human. Each wanted to see if the stories were true. Leo stood before them all. You've all been thrown away, he said. Just like me. The Council says we're weak, unworthy, forgotten. He pulled the human drive from his jacket and held it high. But I have proof. They lied. They fear us, and they fear you. The crowd watched, silent. Leo's voice hardened. I'm not asking for loyalty. I'm offering a choice. Help me strike back, or keep waiting for death. The silence broke. They chose fire. The rebellion began with sparks. Leo organized the outcasts into cells. He used old Fireburn training. He didn't even know he had battle planning, ambush tactics, communication codes. It was like waking up from a dream and finding out he had always been a soldier. They struck supply caravans, stole weapons, freed prisoners from labor camps. Each victory was small but loud, and each one whispered through the system like smoke. Before a blaze, the human leads them. He fights like a commander. They call him the Firestarter. Council scouts were sent to stop him. None returned one night. In a dark tent lit by a cracked lantern, Cora sat sharpening her blade. You're changing, she said. Leo looked up from the map he was studying. How? Before, you were surviving. Now you're burning. Leo looked at the map. Red markers showed recent victories. Blue ones showed Council forces closing in. They made me into a weapon, he said. Now I've decided where to aim. He paused. Do you regret following Me, Cora shook her head. I regret waiting this long to fight. They shared a quiet look. Not love. Not yet. But something stronger was forming, trust built in fire. The next mission changed everything. Leo got word of a council communications tower buried deep in the cliffs. It controlled signal blocking in this region. No messages in, no messages out. If they took it down, the truth could spread. But the tower was guarded by elite soldiers, machines with living brains. Designed for war. Leo studied the plans, then looked up at the rebels. We don't need to win a battle, he said. We just need to start a fire in the right place. The mission began at dawn. Leo led a small team through underground tunnels. Cora climbed the east ridge with snipers. The scavengers planted explosives at the base of the tower. Everything was silent until the alarm screamed. The tower lit up with lights and weapons. Council troops poured out. Drones filled the sky. Leo didn't blink. Ignite it, he said. Cora pressed the trigger. Boom. A massive explosion tore through the base of the tower. Fire shot into the sky. Concrete cracked. The ground shook. But the tower didn't fall. Leo gritted his teeth. Plan B. He ran straight into the battle. Blasters fired. Energy rounds zipped past. He jumped over debris, dodged laser fire, slid under metal beams, and reached the main console at the tower's base. He jammed in the human drive. Authorization: Leo Connor, Fireburn Protocol. The system froze. Then he unlocked. Leo broadcast the truth, the stolen video of his father, the files, the images of Fireburn, the proof that humans were alive and stronger than ever. The signal went galaxy-wide. No more silence. The tower finally collapsed. The battle ended. Rebels retreated into the shadows. The next day, across space, people talked. A human leads the uprising. The Fireburn walk again. They are not extinct, they were waiting. And in the deep halls of the council chamber, one cold voice whispered, he's not just a survivor. He's a symbol, and we must kill the symbol before it becomes a flame the stars can't put out. Leo stood in the ruins of the tower, wind blowing through the ash. Cora stood beside him. What now? She asked. He looked out at the horizon. We find more, others like us. And we take back what they stole. The galaxy had forgotten humanity. Leo just made sure they'd remember. Asterisk, the rebellion-grossed galaxy didn't change all at once. It started. Slowly, quiet words in dark corners, flickers of unrest in dusty colonies, whispers over weak radio signals. The human fights back. He broke the tower. His name is Leo Connor, the fire starter. In secret chambers and abandoned outposts, people leaned in and listened to the signal Leo had sent. They watched the files, his father's message, the council's lies, the Fireburn truth. And they didn't forget. They remembered what it felt like to hope on the abandoned world of Xerac 9. The rebellion grew. What was once a dead world, used to dump unwanted life, now buzzed with new purpose. Caves turned into command posts. Old mining gear became weapons, prisoners became soldiers, smugglers became scouts. Cora trained squads in stealth and sabotage. The scavenger tribes worked on building signal jammers and mobile tech units, and Leo, he built something more powerful than weapons. A cause. Every night, he stood before the gathered rebels and spoke in clear, simple words. We are not broken, we are not alone, and we are not finished. His words cut deeper than swords because he meant every one of them. But the council was watching, and they were afraid. In the fortress world of Voltros Prime, the High Council gathered. Tall, pale beings with gold veins under their skin sat in silence as a black-armored general entered the chamber. The human has unified the outer rebels, he said. We underestimated him, and the tower, destroyed. One council member clicked her claws together. Then it's time we stop underestimating. Send in the cleansers and the prototype. The chamber grew colder. Release it. Let him see what we've become in the years they were hiding back on Xerac 9. A strange signal appeared. Cora studied it carefully. Coded, buried under old trade routes. Leo leaned in. From where? She looked up. Not where, who. It's a human signal. Leo's heart skipped. Another Fireburn? Or someone worse? They decoded the signal. It was short. Commander Connor, fire. Still burns, requesting extraction, coordinates embedded, hostile zone, priority red. Leo didn't hesitate. We're going. They took a small team, Leo, Cora, to scouts, and a sharpshooter named Vesk. They flew in a stolen ship through the outer rim. Through council-blocked space, no lights, no sounds, just purpose. They landed on a broken moon called Archean 3, where the ground bled green mist and nothing ever grew. The signal came from a crashed medical vessel buried in the crater. Leo entered first. Inside, he found a man, pale, wounded, eyes glowing faintly. Another human. The man looked up. So it's true, you survived. Who are you? Captain Darius, Fireburn Unit Echo 9. Presumed dead 3 years ago. They've been experimenting on me. Leo's eyes narrowed. What kind of experiments? Darius smiled, but it was full of pain. They wanted to make a better human, stronger, faster, obedient. But I escaped. He handed Leo a small device. This has everything, names, locations, the council's real project. What project? Project Ashfall, Darius whispered. A weapon, not a bomb, not a ship. A living thing. They built it from our DNA. They want to end the human myth by using us against ourselves. Outside, Cora shouted, Leo, incoming, ships, black, fast, council cleansers. Leo pulled Darius up and ran for the ship. They escaped just before missiles lit up the crater. As the fire rose behind them, Leo stared at the device in his hand. Project Ashfall, a weapon made from human power, a weapon designed to erase not just people but belief. Back on Zirek 9, Leo gathered his top lieutenants. They studied the device. Cora explained the files. They created a creature part AI, part human, part something else. Trained to hunt Fireburn, born from torture, designed to learn and adapt. Leo's voice was cold. A shadow version of us. The room was silent. If they release it, Cora said, it won't just kill us, it'll replace us. Leo looked at the map. The files showed the prototype was being held on a prison world called Velith Station. We have to destroy it before they activate it, he said. Or this rebellion dies before it begins. The plan was crazy. They would need 3 rebel cells to coordinate strikes on Velith's shield generators. Scavengers would hack the outer gates. Cora's team would handle air support. Leo would go inside the prison himself. To kill the prototype before it could be released. You sure about this? Cora asked. No, Leo said, but if I don't go, who will? The night before the mission, Leo stood alone in the desert, staring up at the stars. Behind him, the fire burned low. Rebels sang songs from dead worlds, the sound of hope. Cora approached and stood beside him. You're not the same boy I found in the crater, she said. Leo nodded. I was traded for rotten fruit. Now I'm fighting to save the galaxy. Funny how things change, she said, smiling. He looked at her. It's not just the council that's afraid now, he said. I am too. Why? Because if I fail, they win twice. They kill the rebellion and prove the story about humans was just a lie. Cora placed her hand on his shoulder. Then don't fail. The rebellion was no longer just a rumor. It was a movement. It had fighters, leaders, plans, scars, and dreams, and above all, it had something the council couldn't copy. Belief in one boy who became the FIRESTARTER. In a people who refused to die quietly. In the truth that once humanity had made the stars tremble, and soon they would again. Humanity returns. The prison world of Velith Station was built to hold monsters. No sky, no green, just sharp towers, screaming alarms, and endless metal walls underground. The cells ran miles deep, holding not criminals, but secrets. And deep in the lowest level, behind 10 locked doors, slept a nightmare in human skin. Project ASHFALL. But it would not sleep for long. Leo crouched behind a power generator outside the eastern wall, breathing slow. Above, thunder cracked across artificial clouds, lightning flashed over the towers. It was time. He looked down at his wrist communicator. 3 rebel teams checked in. North Gate, armed. Control tower, in position. Distraction squad ready. Cora's voice crackled through the comm. We've got 12 minutes before council backup arrives. This has to be fast, Leo replied. 12 minutes is all I need. He looked through his scope toward the blast doors. In 12 minutes, he would either destroy the council's secret weapon or die, proving humanity still mattered. The rebels struck first. Explosions tore through the outer gates. Smoke filled the air. Alarms screamed. Guards scattered. Inside the chaos, Leo moved like a shadow, fast, low, exact. He fought through the corridors with a stolen rifle and a blade made from alien steel. His fireburn instincts took over. Dodge, strike, move, repeat, not just brute force, tactical fury. He reached the vault doors with 5 minutes left, and then it happened. The lights flickered. The walls groaned. And the voice spoke. Fireburn detected. Leo froze. From inside the vault, something moved. The door opened slowly. Steam pouring out. What stepped forward looked human, but taller, leaner, eyes pure white. Skin pale, stretched, reinforced with biotech veins that pulsed with dark light. It smiled. Perfectly still. I am Ashfall. You are obsolete. Leo aimed his weapon. We'll see. The fight was fast, brutal, and one-sided at first. ASHFALL moved like lightning. It dodged bullets, shattered walls with its fists, and studied Leo's every move. Your fear is old, it whispered. Your fire is dying. Leo used traps, tricks, every tactic he could remember. Nothing worked until he stopped fighting. He started thinking. ASHFALL could adapt to attacks, but not unpredictability. Leo threw his gun aside, picked up a broken panel and hurled it like a shield. Ashfall deflected it, but behind it came a plasma grenade. Boom. The explosion threw both of them back. Leo's armor cracked, blood ran down his cheek. He got up anyway, Ashfall did too, slower this time. Leo grinned through the pain. You're just a copy, he said. I'm the original. He pulled out the override chip, the one Darius gave him. He slammed it into the wall port. Ashfall screamed. Data rushed through the system. Files unlocked. Cameras turned on. And across the galaxy, from outlaw moons to high-class council planets, everyone saw what the council had tried to hide. Project Ashfall. The lies about extinction. The truth about the FIREBORN. Humanity had never been gone. They had simply gone silent, waiting for someone to speak loud enough to wake the stars. Outside, rebel ships filled the sky. They fought council fighters tooth and nail. Scavengers dropped bombs. Old soldiers picked up new guns. Even slaves joined the fight. Cora led an airstrike directly over the control tower, blasting enemy signals. Leo, the feed is working, she shouted. The galaxy is watching. Inside, Ashfall roared and lunged. Leo didn't run. He stabbed his blade directly into Ashfall's energy core and at the same time slammed a charge into the floor. Boom. Metal tore apart. The chamber exploded. The prison tower crumbled. When the dust settled, nothing moved. Then a hand reached out from the wreckage. Leo, alive, bloody, shaking, but standing. Cora landed beside him, pulled him out. He looked at the smoke, the broken prison, the open sky. And far above, ships, big ones. Human ships. They had seen the signal, seen the truth. And they were coming. Leo stared as their insignias appeared in the clouds. The 3 burning lines of fireburn. You did it, Cora said, voice full of awe. But Leo shook his head. No, we did it. Weeks later, the war had changed. The rebellion was no longer a whisper, it was a roar. Worlds rose up, lies fell, fireburn came out of hiding. And the council? They ran. Not from bombs. But from belief. On a rebuilt command base. Leo stood before a crowd of rebels, citizens, and soldiers, many different species, one cause. He held no weapons now, only a small torch, glowing blue. They called us extinct. He said, they called us weak. He looked out at the people, but we were fire, we were waiting. And now he raised the torch, now we return. The crowd erupted. Cheers. Tears. Hope. And somewhere far away, in a deep room full of stars, a child looked up and asked, are the humans real? A quiet voice answered, they are, and they are not done yet.